And welcome to the movie Madhouse. I'm Rob.
I'm James.
I'm Jason.
And we have our good buddy Matthew G. Taylor here today. How are you, Matthew?
Good, guys. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I know we're excited to get you to Chatham.
Yeah, no, when we're looking forward to it.
Yes,
we're absolutely looking forward to it.
Now I know you said you did some training in Elmer and stuff. Are you familiar with this area of the country?
You know what? I've been through more. Not so much Chatham. I've been to Chatham, but years and years ago, and I would have a hard time even remembering specifics.
Me too.
So it'll be nice to see. It'll be a nice time for us. Just kind of a new environment in that sense. Elmer, yes, back in the day at the police college there, and that's going back a while, but that's a little further, I guess, a little further east from you guys, but it'll be nice. We're really looking forward to it and spending a couple days there and getting a chance to see what's in the area, and
excellent.
Yeah, and the weather's getting better too, which is great. So it'll be that much more enjoyable with the nicer weather.
Exactly. I think this is our 9th year, and we've only ever had one weekend where it was rainy. Usually it's fairly nice. So
yeah. Well, I'll try and bring the good weather with me. I'll do my best.
That works. I know I got to ask one quick question because like you had mentioned, you were in the police force before.
Yep.
What made you do that switch from that to this?
Oh, wow. I started in policing, and then before I got into policing, I worked at a kind of like a nightclub in Burlington, and I ran it. There was a patron there I got to know when I was working in the club, and then fast forward a couple of years, and I got on the job, and I ran into that same patron after getting on the job. But just by chance, I went back to. I was actually living in Toronto at the time. I just moved to Toronto, went back to Burlington to meet up with some friends at a local restaurant in Burlington, and ran into this gentleman. His name was Frank, and he said, "You got to, I've always saw you had a great look." And he was a writer, and my agent at the time, who ended up being my first agent, repped writers also, screenwriters. So he said, "Let me introduce my agent. I get nothing out of it, but I think, you're a great guy and you'd have a good, he always thought highly of me." And he said, "I think you would do well in the industry." So, and that's kind of where it began. I went and met what was his agent initially, and became my first agent. And that was, his name was Emerson Denny. And it went from there. I started getting busy right away. Started with commercials, and that's typical when you're just getting your foot in the industry and starting to book gigs, and you go out for a lot of commercial work. And I was fortunate enough to start booking some commercials, and I was a big, hefty, tall guy, which there wasn't a lot of back then. There's more bigger dudes now than there was back in the 90s. So I was able to kind of get a hold of that whole niche and kind of became the go-to big guy, which was great for me. And it just got busy enough where I could, within a few years was able to make the decision to leave policing, and pursue acting on a full-time basis and give that more of my focus. So
now I know, like with the gentleman behind me here, when you play like Nemesis or something like that you're the ideal person, but did your height ever work against you for some of those jobs?
Yeah, not so much the action jobs or the jobs where you had to play a certain physical role, because that's what they're looking for, but more the typical traditional acting roles where you're lining up in the same shot as actors that definitely aren't near my height. And that's where the challenge comes in, and that's why you don't see a lot of leading actors, especially in dramatic type movies or films, going up against shorter actors. Usually they try and line people up height wise. So I've had a couple challenges, nothing crazy, but there's one scene in Gothica. It's a movie I did I shot in Montreal. Halle Berry's in that. And there's some big names in that movie. It was a great opportunity for me. And I played a character named Turlington, a police officer, as it happens. And you'll see in one scene there, she's in jail, and I kind of take her out of the cell, put her in the cell, and you see basically I'm cut off from my shoulder up, so she could be in the shot, but you only see my shoulder. So a little bit of an example there is in regards to how difficult it is to line people when the sizing is that far off.
Well, that's what I wonder. Because yeah, usually when you get started, you're doing commercials and things like that, but you're not the average person you see in commercials.
No, but you know what? When you really notice it when you see that scale, and again, back to my example there with Gothica. Yeah, I mean, clearly, I stand out as a big dude, even without any sort of someone shorter or smaller beside me. But you really see it when you're in a scene with someone that's average sized, we'll call them. So
Yeah.
yeah. No knock on shorter people, just
A lot of apple crates laying around.
yeah, apple boxes, they do come in handy. Yep.
I know when we did our first big year, we had Tyler Main come, and he's of the same stature as you. And every picture you look at from that year, you see Tyler and then everybody standing beside him.
Absolutely. Yeah, he might actually be a little bit taller than me, but yeah, he actually beat me out in a part early in my career. And I was I think it was X-Men. I believe he was in X-Men. He played
yes.
Sabretooth. Thank you. Yep. Yeah. So he had a little more of a pedigree at that point. So we'll give him that
one. Right.
He was nice enough to take a great picture with me where he looks like he's just like choking me. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I kind of was a little scared because his hands were just like
like a couple piles of bananas. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's cool though, because once you get into your acting, you come across these characters that you're defined for, like Nemesis for you, right? Like, no one else will be able to take that away.
No, and that's the honor in doing these types of roles is you just that no one else can ever play that part conceivably, not wear that costume anyway. And it becomes kind of one of those defining roles. It's a great thing to be able to do and experience in one's career, and I've been fortunate enough in mine to be able to do it.
Yeah, because this is the first live action appearance of Nemesis, outside of the video game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, totally. I mean, I wish I could don the suit at one of these events, that would be amazing. But getting my hands on that's going to be probably a little bit of a logistical issue. So,
any plans for a offshoot Nemesis sitcom or something? Maybe.
Yeah. I keep everything close to my chest.
Oh, that's true. That's
spoil the surprise.
The Seinfeld reboot. Meet the new Kramer.
Except when he comes through the door.
Yeah. Yeah. What happened to Kramer?
Yeah. Question in that whole costume and whatnot. So, any of your movements that you might have became part of the character, were you limited in how you could move in that thing?
Yeah, it was made of silicone, the suit primarily. So it didn't breathe, so it was very hot to begin with. But it was corseted at the back, so it basically went into it almost like a hospital gown at the front, and then they would tie it at the back, so it was literally like a shoelace, like a shoe, so corseted and tightly, because everything was drawn back. So yeah, it definitely put my posture out of line. At the time, it didn't seem like a big deal. I was a lot younger and a lot more capable to carry that sort of costume around and in an awkward body position to boot. But it definitely took a toll longer term, and had some ill effects after finishing the shoot, but well worth it. No complaints. Only because you asked, I said it, but I would do it again tomorrow if I could, for sure.
Yeah, I got to be honest. You said you were younger then. I'm thinking, well, how long ago was that? I just looked. It's 19 years ago.
Almost 20 years. Yeah. We filmed in 2004. Yeah. It's remarkable to think it's that long ago already. Yeah.
Oh, here's one of our biggest fans, Pam. She says, "Hi, Matthew. I'm a fan."
Hi, Pam.
Pam should be coming to the show. Pam. You know the area, so she lives in Hamilton. So I think we're dragging her down.
Well, I grew up in Burlington, so I spent a lot of time in Hamilton, but as it happens, and I had family there, so yeah, I guess I spent more of my time in Burlington because that's where my home was, but definitely Hamilton is a very familiar place to me.
Oh, and she did say, "Yeah, I'm coming to meet you."
Awesome. Look forward to it.
I was peeking through IMDb, and one of the credits you have is Cinderella Man. That one kind of struck me funny. How did you get into Cinderella Man?
Wow. Cinderella Man was it was a stunt. That was a stunt part. My career has been kind of divided between acting and stunts, or a combination of both. So I played a boxer, Primo Carnera. It's a period piece, naturally. So real life character was kind of cool to play someone that actually existed, and that's always an interesting thing to do. They tried to make me look as Italian as possible. Darken the hair, and just the style and of the hair had to be a certain way because of the era. Lots of training. Got to work closely with Russell Crowe. Wasn't any scenes with him, but he got to know him quite well, as did all the other talent and stunt guys. Just by virtue of the number of training days we had to do. And then he would always organize everyone, a lot of the stunt guys and actors, and go out and do like rugby games on our spare time, just to kind of, develop that whole team environment, and everyone gets to know each other. And, he likes that. He thrives on that. So, and he's a big rugby guy himself. So he organized that. So it was interesting to work with him because I'd always admired his acting. So that was a nice, neat opportunity. And just the training was interesting because we did boxing training, but old style boxing too, not the boxing you see nowadays or in modern years. But it was an interesting shoot, one that I remember well and fondly.
I got two questions to follow that up. One, because I'm curious about the training. How much time went into pre-training, like before you actually got in front of the camera? And
quite a bit.
Yeah,
because the fights were choreographed. So you see a lot of the fight scene I did was actually quite lengthy, but everything post production gets chopped down. But you had to make the fight look absolutely legitimate and real. So timing was everything. Knowing who's punching, who's jabbing, who's crossing, and who's when you're taking a hit, and selling the falls on the ropes. Just everything down to the last movement has to be so crisp. And Ron Howard directed it, so a little bit of pressure there.
right.
Performing in front of someone with that type of pedigree, and very nice man. Enjoyed working in front of him, and got great appreciation for the work I did. My fight was actually the first fight of the movie I filmed, which was a little more pressure yet.
Yep.
Because it was kind of the opening fight. It was shot in Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, but they made Maple Leaf Gardens look like MSG, Madison Square Gardens.
Oh,
so
cool.
That was the whole, the movie took place took place in New York. So they had, the crowd was all done up with mannequins to look like, from a distance, you'd look like people. It was really, really a neat experience. And I've had lots of them throughout my film career, but that was probably one of the more memorable ones. Definitely was getting in the ring and just in Maple Leaf Gardens of all places and performing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you grow up there,
Well, 100%. And I did. I went to numerous hockey games at the old Gardens, and with my father, and the nosebleeds where you could hardly even see the arena, standing room only. I don't know if you guys remember Maple Leaf Gardens. I had the chance to go, but yeah, it was an old building.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got to go both times. I went twice for games, and then once after it converted to a grocery store.
Yes, that's right. Well, part of it, and then they still kept part of it. And what they're doing with it nowadays. I mean, we filmed Cinderella Man. Oh, that's going back. That was after Nemesis, but not long after. So
1 year, 2005.
Yeah.
Well, my second question was, how happy were the insurance people to hear that you guys were playing rugby? Because that is not a contact.
Yeah, well, it was tag rugby, not contact. I think did we have flags on? I can't remember. I think it was flag, kind of like flag football, but rugby style. So he got a bunch of the stunt guys together, myself included, in that group, and some of the actors, and we played the U of T female rugby team, and we got shellacked.
Oh, really?
It wasn't pretty. So.
Man.
But a lot of fun, obviously, and
that would have been a blast to watch.
Yeah, it was down. I don't know the name of the field, but it was basically where the Gardner ends going eastbound, just as you get into the beaches.
Okay, yep.
There's fields out there to your right towards the water.
Right on the curve.
Exactly. Yeah, out in that field there. So I don't know the name of it. I'm not an East Ender guy, never was, but yeah, I forget the name of the field, but that's where we played. Yeah.
Yeah, my sister actually lived out there. I remember that curve very well and looking out to see all the fields.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm also noticing on your IMDb, you don't shy away from, like you said, you worked with Ron Howard and Russell Crowe and,
Yeah.
Working in Pacific Rim. But the one that struck out is Boondock Saints 2.
Yeah.
What kind of pressure was there going into that, knowing what Boondock Saints was?
Yeah, I can't say that I had a lot of pressure on that one. There's always pressure, don't get me wrong. And you kind of zone. I've always been good at just putting myself in the moment and put the game face on and perform. And that's where the physical, I guess, performances help. Or it's easier to kind of zone in and get like just go into kind of game face mode when you're doing the physical. You don't have the dialogue or as much dialogue to remember. There's less nuances. You're just going into doing your physical portion, and that's usually a fight scene. And then that's when the adrenaline really kicks in, and you just give it. So the nerves dissipate quickly. Obviously, there's some anticipation leading up to it, but on set, everything is so segmented to boot as well. Rarely do you shoot the fight scene from start to finish. So by the time you do a couple small, takes, you've kind of shaken the cobwebs off and the nerves off a little bit, and you're ready to rock and roll and continue and finish it. And and it's take after take, so it can be a long day. Getting one fight scene done is a long day, and by the time you're partway through it, it's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm done. But you're not done. So but the end product's well worth it.
Awesome.
See you again in 6 hours.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
Pam's got a good question, but I missed this earlier. She said she wants to get a pick and for you to sign her chest.
Sign her chest.
Well, she says, just kidding, but definitely a pick.
Definitely a pick. I can arrange the pick. Absolutely.
But she asked a question, which is interesting. Who was your favorite director to work with and actors?
I would say, oh man.
Yeah. Who's your favorite?
Del Toro. I've worked with him twice. Academy Award winning director. Obviously, it was an honor to work with him, both in Pacific Rim, and then I worked with him on The Strain. I did 2 seasons of The Strain. So he definitely ranks up there as a director. Adam Rifkin from Detroit Rock City was awesome too. And that's going back to the earlier part of my career. He was a lot of fun. Wow. I've been so fortunate to work with great directors and just easygoing individuals, and that take the time, that, you can tell they're having fun, and that they treat everybody on the same playing field. And those are the best directors to work for. But to directly answer the question, I'd say Guillermo was one of my favorite. Awesome man, and really worthy of the Academy Award he won for The Shape of Water, and that was a great movie too. But to be able to say you worked with someone like that twice is for a Toronto boy is an awesome thing to be able to say.
No doubt.
Yeah. Actor wise, I did reference Russell Crowe, just the other part of the question. Wow, I'm not sure if she's referring to actors I've worked with or just in general. But
director to work with and actors.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been fortunate enough to work with some great actors throughout my years. I grew up, kind of admiring Steven Seagal, and I got to fight him a couple different times in Exit Wounds. And I mean, I was always more action movie oriented as a younger individual versus drama. So those are the ones that kind of come to mind first, is just from growing up and watching the films and the movies I did. So yeah, definitely Seagal was one that was a highlight for me to be able to work with. And then, I've been able to work with some very talented thespians, actors with chops that can act. And, the list is really, I could have come better prepared, because it would be such a long list. I feel like I'd be offending someone if I started rounding off anyone, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's my resume, it's I'm proud of my resume, but it's involved a lot, working with a lot of people and a lot of great talent. So
that is awesome. I wanted to ask one thing, because I've seen this on IMDb, but you're the first person I've actually spoken to that I've seen it.
Yeah.
Earlier in your career, it says you were credited as Matt Taylor. Now you go by Matthew G. Taylor. Why? What was the reason for the name change? Was it just for Like,
yeah, well, there's only, under SAG and then ACTRA, ACTRA being the Canadian union, Actors Union, SAG being the American. There really can only be one of any name, right? And that's where the variation kind of came in. And there's already a Matt Taylor stunt actor. So sometimes I've always been Matthew G. Taylor from the beginning. It's just some productions will take it upon themselves to kind of put the name in as they see fit. So anytime I've been credited as Matt Taylor, that's kind of just been done, beyond my control after the fact.
Okay.
Just link it up that way. So yeah, I never actually did a name switch. I always started as Matthew G. Taylor for the very reason I just explained. And that's, you really can only have one or ought to have one, because that'd be way too confusing for people, obviously, or not so much people watching the movie or fans, but the people, keeping track of your IMDb's and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Too, right? So,
well, see, I remember that. And the biggest example I always pull up is Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Because his legal name is Michael Douglas, but there's already one of those.
It works so well. That might be confusing.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Or Albert Brooks, whose real name is Albert Einstein.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That one I didn't know.
Wow. Okay, and that's even Albert Brooks. Okay, wow.
Yeah, because he's brothers with Super Dave Osborne, whose real name is Bob Einstein. So I mean, it's just...
wow. Okay. Yeah. Geez.
So their parents
poor
did that
Dave
on
Osborne. Yeah. Rest in peace. Yeah.
So one other question I have too is,
yeah,
because I noticed there's a lot of series, but there's also a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Which do you prefer, shooting wise? Would you prefer to do, the TV shows once in a while, or do you like the movie projects?
I like the movies myself. I'll never be the one to pick and choose, but I mean, I would have to say, in my experience, feature films have been more enjoyable, bigger budgets, just there's more special effects. It's bigger. Everything's bigger and everything's more, and there's just more money to throw around.
True,
right?
true.
How much money they throw, but that's just the reality of it. And I find, obviously, I think most actors would probably sort of say the same, so have the same sort of answer. Just with a bigger budget comes more days on set, comes longer hours, more opportunities, more scenes.
Yeah.
All the bells and whistles, right?
I guess series would be more consistent, but the movie gives you more bang.
Absolutely. Okay. And to your point, I was a show I did in last summer, 2021, and just came out last fall, but the season 3, and that was a series, and I was fortunate enough to do 7 of the 8 episodes, and that was a lot. That was awesome. And had it been a feature, I probably wouldn't have seen as much screen time. So yeah.
Well, yeah, and see, like with Jason Momoa, and a lot of the shows nowadays, they are turning into like 8-hour movies as opposed to
pretty much. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. They're just making a really, really long movie and chopping it up.
Exactly. It's a movie web series.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and there's just so many of them. So the features are nice in that sense too. It almost puts you in that different category of being less competitive, or having to worry about that competition, because here there are so many series, and just to have that staying power, or at least have the people who are watching to want to stick around and finish the episode, or finish the series. That's got to be challenging for a lot of these production companies to
have
a product that's actually going to keep people watching and sticking around, especially if you're going into 2-3 seasons, right?
Well, and I don't know how many times people have come up to me and said, "Have you seen this show? Or have you seen this show?" And it's like, I didn't even know that show existed.
Well, exactly, right?
Because there's so many.
Yeah. And I've started myself, and Jen, we watch TV together, and we'll start shows or series and just lose traction, just lose steam. It's not enough to keep you coming back, right? And then it's the whole, shiny object. Oh, there's something else to watch.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because I believe that I'm going to be interviewing you on stage at CKX Expo.
Nice.
So I'm gonna give you fair warning on what will probably be the most important questions.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna need from you your number one movie, the movie that is your you would call your favorite, but it's a movie that you're always gonna herald to people like you should see this movie if you haven't. I'll also take a TV show as
that
well.
I played in, or that I've ever watched?
Just your favorite movie, one that you want to watch.
Gotcha.
Okay,
Yep.
and or TV show as well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But also to go with that, what's your perfect sandwich to eat while watching it?
Awesome. Love it.
Okay. Here's your homework
on that.
Fine. Yeah. I'll keep you in suspense.
Ardola says, "Hi everyone, loved you as Nemesis. Now I'm glad my mom named me Ardola, so I won't have to change it if I branch into acting." Yeah, there's not too many with that.
No, yeah, your competition is gonna be very, very limited. So yeah, that's a nice name though. I like that name.
Actually, I know Ardola, and it's from Buck Rogers. Her mom named her after Princess Ardola from Buck Rogers.
Wow.
Except they spelt it different. Pam has another question. Any new movies or shows coming up for you?
Well, yeah, you know what? Again, keep the cards close to my chest. I do. Yep. I am. There's always stuff in the cooker. I have a film agent, Amy Hines. So I've been reading for some stuff lately, and there's a couple of projects that are in the works, we'll say. And once that kind of that momentum is built and I'm actually working on it and things have been finalized, then I'll show my cards. But until then, keep it. It's more of a superstition thing. Sorry, Pam, nothing personal. Just that's how I always function. I said to you guys before we went on air, my family doesn't even know. So,
yeah. No, I get that. But let me ask you this question then, because a friend of mine, Robert Nolan, he's an actor in Toronto. He's done a billion things. But the one thing he talked to me about, he goes, there are times where he's done roles. He has no idea if the project ever got released.
100%.
Have you had that experience where you've gone and you've done a project and now you look back and go, I don't even know if it came out?
Yep, definitely. There's been, I don't know what his resume is like. He may have been, fortunate enough to do a lot more than I have. And, but I know from my experience, I've done a handful of those where, you show up, you do it. And it's like, okay, well, I may never see this, or if or I've had to call my agent and say, hey, whatever happened with this, or I've never heard anything about it. A lot of times I'll get noticed through my agent or otherwise, or other means rather, about stuff that when it's going to be aired, etc. Nowadays, if you do a series that's mainstream, you'll see it advertised yourself. But there have definitely been times when, you just kind of show up and do your day and leave, or do a couple days and you leave, and never really know what happened with it, or
Dang.
I had a situation once. Are you familiar with the actor Jason Mewes at all? From Kevin Smith. Yeah, Kevin Smith, Jason Mewes, Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay and Silent Bob? From the Kevin Smith movie?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I don't. Okay. I'm very familiar with it, but I know of it. Yep.
Okay, well, Jay.
No, I want to say the name sounds familiar, but
Jay from that crew, he had filmed an indie horror flick here just outside of Chatham. I want to say 15 years ago. Well, it never saw a full release for quite a long time. It got aired on the Super Channel twice, somewhere 5 years after it was filmed. Never really went anywhere.
Too, or it goes to Europe. Yeah,
but I managed to find it, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
Well, then a few years later, I got to see Kevin and Jay doing a show in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And so my buddy and I were waiting outside, waiting to try and catch him for autographs afterwards. And Jay'd come out and said, yeah, hey, we'll be out in a few minutes. We're just finishing the VIP thing, and then I'll come out and see you. As he's walking away, I said, Jay, you rocked in Silent but Deadly, yo. That was the name of the flick.
Yeah.
And he's like, thanks. You saw that? He hadn't even seen it.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Is there one of those projects that you can think of that you really wished had come out?
Well, there's one that came out that I can't find anymore. It's called The Way of the West. It's also got a working title of Redcoat Justice and Lawman. It's got 3 different titles because it depends what country they get released in. And I filmed it in the Yukon. for 3. I was up there for the better part of a month, about 3.5 weeks in Whitehorse, and it was a great experience. Another highlight of my career, being able to. That was in 2009, and I was up there in August, so it wasn't crazy bad weather, but at night it got freezing. It just we shot about an hour and a half outside of Whitehorse, and had to take about a 20-minute ATV into this river setting where they had built this little town. And it's a gold. It took place back in the Klondike days, and the gold back when the gold, everyone was trying to get their stake in gold and mining and stuff, and panning rather than not mining. And I played a Russian Cossack, a bad person in this crew that would go around and rob the campsites. So that was the basic premise of the story, and then there was a lawman who saves the day, but I cannot get my hands on that to save my life. So. Really? Yeah, and it's out there somewhere. I did have a copy of it, a produced copy from the production company that I had was given to me way back in the day. But Gonzo, it's a DVD, and just moving a few different times, and I try and do the best to keep my stuff intact and safe. But yeah, I'll blame my mom. I think I lent it to her. So but that's one that good. Yeah. I've seen it, but I don't remember. I'd love to see it again. But again, directly to your question, there definitely has been a couple roles I've done where, I haven't made a big effort to see them. And that's probably more on my part than anything else, or it's been a limited release, whatever the case may be. But I mentioned Europe because a lot of stuff that's made that doesn't pass the test here will get sometimes in Asia they'll go crazy for those things that we look at and would roll our eyes at. But yeah,
I know
we hear about that, like the weird international cult followings.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know we did a web series here. A buddy of mine from LA flew up and we did a 4-part web series. It's only like 20 minutes long, but it gets 5 times more views in Germany than it does in Canada and US.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Just like David Hasselhoff movies. They
exactly
like the bomb over in with Germany and other European countries. So
Jerry Lewis in Italy. Yeah. In France.
France.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Matthew, thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
4 weeks. Everybody can come out and meet Matthew.
It's coming up quick. Looking forward to it, boys. Really am. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been
Don't forget your homework.
I know my
favorite movie, TV show, and the sandwich to go with it.
Yeah, and I may have that sandwich next. You made me hungry. So
there we go.
Thanks, guys.
All right. If you guys need anything, just let me know.
For sure. Cheers, guys. All the best.
Bye.
See
ya.
See ya.
There we go. So yes, Matthew Taylor will be here in 4 weeks. Jason, get your questions ready.
Oh yeah. This helped.
Yes. No doubt. James, I noticed you were rather silent during this.
Well, I wasn't prepared for an interview questions. I was prepared to rip into a certain movie. And then the one question I would have had was about Cinderella Man, and you took that.
I'm sorry, because that would shock me. That was on his resume because I love that movie,
and I knew he was in it because he's shown being beaten by the champion. They're like, yeah, he had to punch up for him, and you see the one champion like punching way up in the air and knocking the shit out of him, and it's like, oh yeah, that's Nemesis. That's
Pam's got it figured out. James was starstruck like me.
Guilty.
Yeah, that's what it was. But look at that face. How could you not like that face, right? Oh yeah, I'm excited. This year's expo, I am so pumped. We're gonna.
I always have fun, but this year I got a little something cooking.
What you got going on?
My first official cosplay. Well, no, sorry. My first construction required cosplay.
I was gonna say because we kind of cosplayed at CK Cosplay.
Yes, but no, I'm making a costume.
Really?
Yes.
Any hints? No. See, I was cosplaying on the weekend too. I went as a comic book promoter or Comic-Con promoter.
How was Rose City?
Rosie was excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hang on here. Pam said, "Yeah, dude is so badass." Yeah, he is. Right.
I know I have seen him. I saw him in London, I think. I'm pretty sure I saw him at the London Con when I ran the podcast stage. I'm pretty sure he was like 3 panels down or 3 tables down from Ming Chen.
My guess is yes, because it was Jeff McDonald, our friend, Messiah Complex Cosplay, who got a hold of me and said, "You have to bring Matthew G. Taylor."
Okay.
And it was because he met him, I think, there and talked with him and such. What does Ardala say? Really pumped for CKX. And Jason, your first made costume. Yeah, can't wait to see.
I've got all the material. I just need like one piece, and then I can start doing things.
Pam says, "Yay, let's all cosplay. Let's do it." Although,
yep,
I am a little scared now. I've seen you as Frankenfurter, so literally, does
a Halloween party count as?
I don't think that counts. Yeah, because you gotta dress up. Technically,
now I'm not saying I won't wear it again, because if ever a midnight screening that like in Chatham, like, or somebody does it on one night only, I've got to break it out. I do still have it, and I don't know if it'll fit.
Okay.
I call that a warning. Let's put it that way. Let's call it a warning.
It's just a jump to the left.
I
right?
just rewatched it again yesterday. I haven't in a long time, but it came up, put it on, and yeah. So I love that movie. I really do.
Let me see here.
It's been with me a long time. I've been a fan since like when I was too young to be a fan.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Can you be too young to be a fan? I don't think that's a thing.
I never saw the full movie, but I saw the trailer many times. I was in awe of the poster, because they had the poster like always hanging to the right of the entrance in the Center Theater downtown. And so I was infatuated with it. I even paid like premium money to get a VHS copy special ordered of the movie when it came out on its like there was like 20th anniversary or something.
Was this the black one with the red tip on it had the big embossed lips or mouth?
No, I didn't get any sort of. This one didn't have any sort of special thing. It was just the movie. I couldn't afford like a collector's item type thing. I just wanted the movie because you couldn't get it anywhere. It wasn't easily found.
Wait a second.
For quite a while.
Sorry, I'm trying to find something because I want to download it. There we go. We got 2 more comments here. Ardala says, "I wasn't allowed to watch the movie till I was older, but I loved the music growing up." Yeah. And then Pam says, "James, are you coming to CK Expo this year? You wussed out last time."
Did not.
He was there.
He was there.
I did 2 interviews.
He was just ducking you.
That's what it was. Yeah, James is actually going to be interviewing Dan Redican, the master of puppets, so to speak.
Puppets who kill.
Puppets who kill.
And Freaky Stories, which I've come to find out is a cult show that I never knew existed.
That title
I've never heard of it.
I think one of my kids might have gotten into that a bit back in the day.
Yeah, see, I've never heard of it, never watched it, but every time I post, people are going, "Freaky Stories, I loved it. Oh my God, that slug it haunted me when I was young." Things like that. And it's like, I didn't even know.
That sounds familiar.
See, Ardal even says, "Freaky Stories was my show in the day."
Huh. I wonder if it's anywhere.
So, okay, here's the 2 things I wanted to throw up. Oh, there it is. There's one. Oh, my bad. I didn't see him. I'll get you. Yep.
Told you he was ducking you.
So right around the noon mark, check out the stage. You'll find him. He'll be there. And I tried to even it up so that everybody can do an interview, but everybody can still go out and have fun too. So first thing, we're having our program going to be put together. And tentatively right now, here's the cover.
Oops.
Right? Craig Ferguson did an amazing job with that. He also did the Ravenous.
This almost looks like a like Teen Titans version of Mapes.
Yeah.
Like he's younger.
Yep. Teen Mapes.
Teen Mapes.
But then, and this was really cool, on Thursday. No, it was Friday. Thursday during the morning, I went to visit Chris and Dave and Cheryl at the radio station. Right. When I used to work midnights, I would get done at 7. I'd go grab coffees and go over to the radio station and just chit chat with them. So I finally did that for Friday morning or Thursday morning. And when I was there, I showed Chris the first couple pages of the comic in rough sketches. And he's like, oh, cool. Like, apparently he talked to the newsroom. They got a hold of me and said, we want to talk to you about this comic that's got the Blumbergs in it and all this stuff. So it's like, okay. So I talked to him for like 5 or 6 minutes. And then Saturday, the very next day, boom, there was an article out.
I saw that.
And it's like, dang, you guys are fast. But when I sent him the artwork, it wasn't complete. It was just the black and white. Now this is complete because there is gray tones in it. It makes it look a little bit better. I wish I could blow it up a bit more. Unfortunately, I can't.
That's awesome.
But this is it.
They're in good company. They've been immortalized in a CK Expo comic book. You know, we are a limited few.
Yep, that is true. You know, jittering Jason Bayshard in the first issue.
Yep.
Which I should point out, I'm already talking to Alfonso. I think we're putting together a graphic novel that's got all 5 issues.
Oh, cool.
So
do I get royalties?
Yeah, I'll double your royalties.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I gotta ask, have either of you gone to see D&D yet?
No, I forgot it was coming out.
Okay, I did not forget, but I was still kind of on the fence about boycotting Wizards of the Coast, but I'm probably going to see it tomorrow night in Windsor. So
why? Yes, why?
Why what?
Why would we be boycotting?
Oh no, I wouldn't expect you guys, but if you didn't hear, it's a rather long story. But Wizards of the Coast tried to pull some legal bullcrap and basically tried to crap on the entire community that built it.
How?
By they tried to sneak by some rule changes to their open gaming license, which allows anyone to use their material.
I saw that. That was a few months ago, wasn't it?
That was the beginning of the year. It started like in December, late December, November, like in that area, and it really blew up in the second week of January.
I just play Magic. That's the extent of my involvement with Wizards of the Coast.
Magic hasn't been affected too much, but D&D, the D&D community is what got destroyed here.
Yeah, I've never got into that.
No, but they lost a shit ton of subscribers from their D&D Beyond website, their main connection point. They lost a lot of subscribers, including me and all my crew.
From everything I read, though, all that got kiboshed, and they put it back.
It did, but the damage is done. Trust has been broken. The other companies, like the company that makes Pathfinder, I think Kobold Press is their name. They're the leading one behind this, because they were one of the biggest ones to get affected by it. They a lot of people have been just shifting over to all these other products now. The damage has been done, so they desperately need this movie to do well.
Well, Ardala says I saw it Friday, and OMG, amazing.
All I've heard is rave reviews from us, even from fans. Only the hardcore family of you can't. Drew can't turn into an album. Shut up and enjoy the friggin' movie because it looks fucking awesome. I am anxious to see it. I'm caving. We're going tomorrow. I'm gonna see it. I've already been told I'm gonna love it. So Tally saw it. He loved it. So
if I'm gonna go see anything, it's John Wick 4. Although I don't know if I'll venture out for it.
I still need to go see that, but I've heard that's pretty good too. If you've enjoyed all of John Wick so far,
and I have,
then you'll probably enjoy this one as well. That's what I was told today by my son. So
I still gotta watch 2 and 3.
Wow. For recent flicks though that I have seen, Champions, the Woody Harrelson one.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. It's heartwarming. It's so much fun. Fantastic representation for the challenge people. Like it's just it was so good. Highly recommend it. It's going to be a regular watch for me. I think it might make my top 10 sports list kind of thing.
Really?
It's a contender.
I know the trailer looked good, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll catch it on VOD or buy the DVD, but maybe I'll go to the theater.
It's out on streaming now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think
maybe I won't have to go.
I think it's on Prime. That's where I was at. I saw streaming. So.
Well, I got to get rid of this bug first. I got some weird little bug, so.
Oh, there's been a few going around.
Yes. So. Oh, and here is the other picture he did of Ravenous.
What's his name?
Craig Ferguson.
No, what's the character name?
Oh, these are Ravenous.
Ravenous.
Yes. The tall guy on the left is Chromie, because he's a cyborg, part cyborg.
He looks like he should be rapping.
The tall guy on the right is Cro-Magnon.
He's just the base dude. Yeah.
Yep. The green hooded one is Scarecrow.
Okay, he's dropping the diss tracks.
And the little dude on his shoulder is Micro.
Oh, there's your ultimate hype man. Right there. Yep, see, the whole crew right there.
Mm-hmm. And
it's a hip-hop group.
It's weird that you say that, because literally, do you see how they're breaking into the Bradley Center? That's them where it says Creek. That's Ravenous coming in. They accuse Darren of stealing the name of their boy band, Crowfest. That is the plot of the comic.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
And Darren even says, I'm sorry, I've never heard of you. And he goes, what? Old time Rockin' Crow? You know, I would fly 500 miles. These are our songs. So yeah, it's fun. It's
cool.
Fun.
Cool. I look forward to adding it to my collection.
Right? Number 5.
Yep.
I don't have the cover yet, or I'd show you. Let me just look. Nope, no cover yet.
No?
No, not yet.
No, there's still time.
Exactly.
Just like I still have time to finish to make my costume.
Exactly. 4 weeks. Literally 4 weeks.
Are you getting anxious yet?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Totally.
How's your sleeping? Are you eating? Are you eating well?
I'm eating.
You're eating?
I don't know. It's no crumbs.
Good, I guess.
No Better than most.
I think you need to get out of here.
Yeah. Well, James, anything to add that you've seen?
Well, with the exception of one particular movie, I would say
no.
Not yet.
It's I will say outside of Scream 6, which wasn't my favorite of the series, my girlfriend and I were checking out some of the Netflix movies, and it was a Stephen King. It was another one based on a Stephen King novel or novella. It was called Mr. Harrigan's Phone. And it came out last year, and it's based on a recent Stephen King novella, and it stars Kiefer Sutherland, and I think it's a young kid. Hang on. A young kid gets a job reading to a reclusive, not so much a reclusive, but an elderly billionaire who moved to town to settle in, and his eyesight's going. He needs someone to read like newspaper and books and stuff to him. And he strikes up a friendship with him. And as he grows up, he ends up getting a cell phone. Oh yeah, it's the kid from It, Jaden Martell, the one who plays Bill in the recent It movies. And he grows up, gets a cell phone, and he ends up buying a cell phone for Mr. Harrigan too, so that he could call him if he needed to. And then Mr. Harrigan ends up dying. And the kid feels bad, so he has the iPhone buried with him. And the kid gets bullied occasionally, and certain tragedies befall him, and he'll like send a text, because right before this happens, he sends a text to Mr. Harrigan's phone, and he actually gets a text back, even though it's buried with him in the ground. And then like he gets bullied, he sends a text saying like, some sort of like a distress thing. And the next day, the bully's dead. And then a teacher, one of his favorite teachers is on vacation with her husband, and they get in a head-on collision with a drunk driver. And he texts Mr. Harrigan's phone about he wants this person dead. It shouldn't have happened to such a sweet lady or whatever. And the guy ends up dead. And there's a little bit of a creepy edge to it, but it's more of like, how is this happening? And what's from exacting revenge from beyond the grave kind of thing.
That sounds cool.
It was pretty fascinating, but they don't give you a lot of explanation. So it's one of the novellas or whatever that I want to actually read to see if there's more background in there.
Okay.
I've never heard of that at all.
I haven't heard of it either, but you piqued my curiosity. I
had heard of it, I think last year, not too long before they dropped it on Netflix. Because it was like, because there's some movies where you're like, oh, I can't wait to go see that in the theater. And it's like, yeah, it's Netflix. It's like, oh, I don't have Netflix. Well, now we do. But so I get to see those.
I don't. I got rid of Netflix.
It's on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay. Now I know. Okay. Because, yeah, I love that premise. Ardala here says, I need to buy all the comics. I must admit I haven't got any of the CKX comics. What? I just put my calendar together to make sure all the posts get out. Yes, Ardala is in charge of our social media. She's the one that does this amazing job of posting about all of our vendors and celebrities. And if it's a post on our page, 99% of it is probably her. So thank you for that. I do know right now we have the first 4 issues available at the new GME. At 55 St. Clair Street, right across from 7-Eleven. That's where we go every Tuesday at the end of the month to play games. So if you go there, they will have issues 1 to 4 that you can pick up. So grab those there, get ready for 5, and then
tell Chris the Madhouse sent you.
That's right. You should say, hey, Chris, the Madhouse sent me. I need comics.
And watch as he slams the door in your face.
Who? I don't know that name. All righty. So, guys, this has been fun.
I look forward to talking to him again and getting homework from him.
Yeah. Oh, she said, Ardella says, I see Chris every Thursday for D&D. D and SD. What is that?
I don't know.
I think that's a misprint, but now I'm curious. Dungeons and some dragons.
Dungeons and sexy dragons?
Dungeons and sexy dragons.
Instead of the bard trying to seduce the dragon, the dragon's trying to seduce them.
Right? Come on over here, baby. I think it's a trap.
Now I'm picturing a dragon doing a pole dance.
Right? I'm not going in. You go in. Oh, wait. This bard has done that.
Oh, jeez.
You've been seduced by a dragon? Okay, now we need to know, was there a pole dance? Because, Jason, you may have just laid it all out and not realized it.
Maybe. I don't remember being in a game where there was that going on.
Pole dancing dragons?
God, I don't remember it.
I can't play a game where it doesn't happen.
Well, I'm running a game for my old crew, and there could be dragons involved, I guess.
Suddenly, a pole appears.
It's in an Arctic area, so there could be like a frozen stalagmite pole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah.
You get the lights refracting off all the ice.
Just like a disco ball.
Exactly. This story writes itself. Holy smokes.
I do need to write this down. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, you'll forget it.
I'm using this. This is the good stuff.
You'll forget it before we end the show if you don't.
Yeah, I know.
All righty. Well, guys, thanks again. Hopefully next week is our big Oscar reveal. I'm hoping.
I really hope so. I need to get something off my chest, and it's starting to hurt. So,
oh boy. All right. So then for tonight, another fun episode of the movie Madhouse. I'm Rob.
I'm James.
I'm Jason.
We'll see you all later.
Bye.
Toodles.
I'll say, shut up! It's a madhouse!